Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing today? My name is SpectrumDominus, and I am going to be your predictor this evening. We're live here on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. You can stop in for all my game content. We do a lot of wrestling themed videos and streams. Today we're doing a prediction show live with my viewers watching. All of these prediction shows are filmed live. So come check us out there. The subscription, the link is in the description below. But today we're here to do Elimination Chamber 2018 predictions. So, as always, if you've seen my prediction show, I'm using the Wikipedia page to get me a list of matches. The reason I use Wikipedia is, up to this point, I have never seen them put a match on Wikipedia that did not air on the show, and I have in 2 occasions seen matches that were on the Wikipedia page that I did not know about, and then when the show aired, those matches actually were on the show. Now I say 2 occasions, but actually it's 1 occasion, the second occasion being today, as I was aware of 5 matches, and there are actually 6 matches including the pre-show, if you go by the Wikipedia page. So I'm going to predict based on those 6 matches. Every other prediction video I've watched only had the 5 matches or less. So that one-ups us. So let's start with that extra match. The pre-show match is listed as Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, the Club, versus the Miztourage, which is Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel. I find this match very interesting in the sense that, first of all, I find a lot of things interesting. You're going to hear me say that multiple times this video. I promise you, that's like my favorite saying when I'm doing a prediction show. And I just heard me say it and realized that I do that all the time. But I find it interesting because this is what I predict is going to be the match, the battle coming out of the Elimination Chamber. For the next 4 weeks as we lead towards WrestleMania, I suspect that the Miztourage and the Club will be going head to head. As we've talked in stream, if you talk to me and come and hang out in stream, you will learn where I think things are going, how I would plan things out. And my belief is, even though there are rumors for many different paths coming out of Elimination Chamber heading into WrestleMania, I believe that the path of Finn Balor versus Miz for the Intercontinental title is the most likely one. It's the one that I would do, and I think that the lead-up of 4 weeks of Finn Balor versus Miz having a 6-on-6, a 3-on-3 6-man tag matches, Finn versus Miztourage, Miz versus the Club, all sorts of different mixtures is the best way to keep this battle going without having Miz have to face Finn in advance. So it's what I expect. So to give us that beforehand seems weird in my opinion, unless they're using it to start wow, my brain's just not working today. But start the fight, start the I forget what it's called, but between the group. I'm not sure why they would give this away right away. I feel like on Raw, in a different situation, I feel like a lot of different options could have been done here. I don't understand any reason why you would have the Miztourage win unless you're doing it in a sense of they're going to cheat to win so that you can build that fight, that battle between them. The feud. Thank you. One of my viewers just said feud is the word you're looking for, and it is. My brain could not come up with feud. So you're getting a feud between the Miztourage and the Club, and that's what I see coming out of it. So traditional, if you're not looking at it from that sense, and you're looking at it just versus the Club is the higher ranked team of the two, then the club should win this. Because they're giving it away for free, I gotta feel like they're using it to. They're gonna use it to set up, and if they're gonna use it to set up, the only way that makes sense is to let the Miz Taraj win by dastardly means. So I'm going to predict, and this wasn't my plan as I started talking about it, but I talked myself into it. My check mark goes next to the Miz Taraj. Everything I've read says the club should win this. In my mind, the club should win this. But to build a better feud, the Miz Taraj cheating here to get a win is a better result for the next 4 weeks. So, Miz Taraj over the club on the pre-show. That's one I'll be wrong on. Generally speaking, I don't try to outthink myself. Keep it simple, stupid. KISS when predicting. Keep it simple, stupid. If you say, well, yeah, obviously this person's going to win, but what if they're doing this? Then you're going to talk yourself out of the winner. With WWE, it tends to be, yep, it's that person, and then it's that person. All right, so the next match they have listed there is the Tag Team Championship match, Sheamus and Cesaro versus Titus Worldwide. Now, this is an interesting match. Now, I said that jokingly on purpose. It's not a very interesting match, in my opinion. The thing is, and I did just talk about, for the Elimination Chamber and for Fastlane, when we do the Fastlane predictions, the important thing to note is, anything Royal Rumble on, you have to take WrestleMania into account. You have to say, how does this affect going forward towards WrestleMania? What could they possibly have the plan for WrestleMania? What could the Bar's plan be? What could Titus O'Neil's plan be? In the previous, what could the Miz Taraj? And so you have to look at that going forward to see what you think their outcome's going to be. My suggestion for them is to have Finn Balor beat Miz and become the Intercontinental Champion, and to have the club win the titles and become the Tag Team Champions, and have the club come out with 3 belts. That's what I would do. I think that's the best course of action right now. I also have heard a lot of people predicting that Revival will come out of WrestleMania with the titles, which I can see. That makes sense. Put it on Revival, and then you could have the club battle them for it. But now we're talking about 2 of the 2 tag teams that aren't even involved in this match. So when you look at that and you say Revival is heels, so you'd want it on the Bar, or the club or faces, so you'd want it on Titus Worldwide, you can look at it and say, depending on how you feel which way it should be in WrestleMania, does the Bar defend against the Revival so Revival can take it, or does Titus and Apollo defend against the Bar so the Bar can take it, and then Titus Worldwide are just transitional champions? Which way do you want to go about it, or which way do you believe that's happening? I do believe that the Bar is probably coming out of WrestleMania the champions. That's where I'm leaning towards. Now, granted, this is more than a month in advance, so these are not my official WrestleMania predictions. But looking forward to that, that doesn't necessarily mean that I need Titus Worldwide to win here, because I suspect that at least one of the matches at WrestleMania will be a multi-man tag team match. And Raw seems to be building towards that better. The Bar versus Revival versus Titus Worldwide versus the Club is a better Four Corners match, in my opinion, and you can still put it on the Club without having them beat Cesaro and Sheamus, and then you can continue the fight with Cesaro and Sheamus. So it all depends on how you look at it. So for me, I'm saying that it doesn't matter who wins this battle. If at WrestleMania they're going to do a Four Corners match, then they can give it to Titus Worldwide and make it a Four Corners match. Or they can leave it on the Bar and make it a Four Corners match. So, my little prediction is that they're going to leave it on the Bar. There's no reason to make a title change when there's no reason to make a title change. Titus Worldwide will get another shot at WrestleMania, in my opinion, along with the other 2. and having them be a 1 month champion transitionally really doesn't help out anything. It almost hurts the belt. Now, we've seen them do silly stuff like that before, so it could happen. This is one, if I was doing confidence points, I'd have a very low confidence point on it, because I'm picking Sheamus and Cesaro, but if they put it on Titus Worldwide because it doesn't matter who has it, I would not be surprised. The next match they have listed, match number 4, is 4 counting up. Woken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt. Now, it's funny, I was watching another YouTuber the other day. They were doing their predictions, and it was Ollie Davis, in case you guys watch Wrestle Talk News. If he said, oh, that's right, they're fighting. I don't even care about this match. I don't care about it so much that I forgot this match was on the card. And while watching the prediction show, I was thinking the same thing. I had forgotten that match was on the card until they brought it back up. This match is so unnecessary. Everyone wanted Matt Hardy, wanted broken Matt Hardy in WWE. I tried to tell people that they really didn't want broken Matt Hardy in WWE, that it was a mistake. Hopefully we're building towards something better, which I don't have a lot of trust in, but we'll see. But really, you already have them fighting at Raw 25, where Bray won in a 4-minute match, something like that, some ridiculously short match that didn't matter. And now you're having the rematch on Elimination Chamber, and I'm not sure why it's here. They laugh at each other a lot. They turn on the videos and just talk to each other and laugh at each other, and eventually it has to be a battle. They have to fight. But is there anyone here that doesn't think this is going to end up eventually at the Hardy compound in some way, doing one of those videos, even if it's not the same as it was in TNA, be something like they did with the New Day and the Wyatt family, or Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt? It's got to be something where it's a real found footage type thing. So that's going to happen probably at WrestleMania. I suspect we'll get a found footage, a live cam, whatever you want to call it, match between these two in some way at WrestleMania. So this is just another blow-off match heading there. Now, if you give the match to Woken Matt Hardy, which I'm predicting they do, this is the keep it simple, stupid simple thing. I really think that it just makes sense to give it to Hardy from their point of view. Now, it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things, because Wyatt is a bigger star than Hardy. And you want Wyatt to keep beating Hardy if he needs to go further down the rabbit hole to get to that Hardy compound type thing. So if I was booking it, if I was told these are your matches, you book the storyline, you book the wins, I would give Bray the win. I would give Bray the win here. But WWE 50-50 booking, we've already seen Bray win. What happens if Bray beats Hardy twice? Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I should say it doesn't play out to me like a WWE ending that Wyatt wins again. I feel like they'll go 50-50 with this until they can completely get that situation going. So I'm going to say Matt Hardy. I don't think that they're smart enough to give it to Bray, and I don't think that we're going to get any outside interference yet. We're not going to get any Wyatt family members rejoining. We're not going to get Remy Hardy or Jeff returning from injury or Senior Benjamin. I don't think any of that happens yet. We have 4 weeks of build-up. We may get that over the next 4 weeks. Probably get some of that over the next 4 weeks. If their plan is to include Jeff in the fight as Brother Nero at WrestleMania, then we may see Hardy here. I don't think that's their plan. I don't think we'll ever see Brother Nero in full Brother Nero. You know, I don't think that's... They're more interested in Jeff as a singles wrestler. When they brought him back, they brought him back as a tandem just so they can split him up, send Matt in his broken brilliance, let Jeff fight the way they want Jeff. They've always wanted Jeff. So we'll see where it goes, but I don't think this is going to be anything worth noting at all. So the next match. The next match is Asuka versus Nia Jax. The winner of, I should say, if Nia wins this match, she gets added to the match at WrestleMania. Now, this is one of two situations in this pay-per-view that is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Ambiguous. It's a very ambiguous situation. Now, Nia Jax will get added to Asuka's championship match at WrestleMania. That, I'm reading this off her wiki. If Nia Jax wins, she will be added to Asuka's championship match at WrestleMania. But that's not really what's going to happen. Now, in theory, there are a lot of ways. We talked earlier about the different roads that things could go. The women's titles, Raw and SmackDown, have one of the most, probably the most, options going forward. We can see multiple people win the Elimination Chamber to give us a different champion going into WrestleMania. We can see Asuka. They're talking now as if she picked the Raw title, but she never said anything. She could theoretically pick the SmackDown title. If Nia wins here, it could be a triple threat versus whoever wins the Chamber. Nia, Asuka, and that. If Nia wins here and Asuka goes over to SmackDown, it could be Nia versus whoever wins the Chamber. If Nia doesn't win here, Asuka could go over there, and then we could still try to find another. There's a lot of different things. We don't know how it's going to play out. And the I can't even say the whatever form of that word is. But the ambiguous nature, how about that, of this match is the implication that Nia would be added in a triple threat form because they're implying that Asuka already decided she's going after the Raw. Now, we could see going forward that Nia goes after the Raw and that they just didn't tell us because... not Asuka goes after the Raw, and they just didn't tell us because they refused to let Asuka actually say anything on television. Or it could be that they're playing it up because they just assume that, and then Nia gets added to the match, and then she hops ships over to SmackDown. Now, if Nia gets added to the match, I'm pretty sure that she won't be get added to, and I'm reading again, Asuka's championship match. Because the way that's worded makes it sound like if she picks Charlotte, it'd be Charlotte versus Nia versus Asuka, which would probably be a really cool match, but not what this is saying. So, once you get all the ambiguity, the way too many syllables there, I'm going to stop using that word. Once you get all of it together, all the information, what you know, what you think you know, what you hope you know, what you don't know at all, and you start looking, there's one piece of information that is more important than anything else. And that is, Asuka has never lost. Asuka is not going to lose to Nia Jax in Elimination Chamber. Now, I've heard people say, well, they did it with Charlotte. Her streak of not losing to anyone on a pay-per-view, they lost to Bayley at just some random pay-per-view before WrestleMania last year, Fastlane probably, last year. They could do it again. Now, one has nothing to do with the other. Charlotte's 13-match pay-per-view streak is nothing compared to Asuka's 500 and something matches, more than Goldberg undefeated streak for 3 years. It's not the same thing. So Asuka's not losing this match. Now, one could argue well, if she lost by disqualification or count out, she didn't get pinned or submitted, they'd still say something. They do not want a cloud over it. They don't want 60-70% of the people saying, well, she still hasn't been beat, and the other 30% saying, well, she lost to Asuka, disqualification is still a disqualification. So they're not going to go that route. The only thing they could do is double count out or double disqualification, something where there's a no contest. And if they were to do that, well, Nia didn't win. Now we're going back to that ambiguity of, well, it doesn't say if Asuka doesn't win. It says if Nia wins. Well, Nia doesn't win. She doesn't get in the match. So it's just so much red tape to cut through to figure out what's going on. So like everything else, you got to figure out where they're going at WrestleMania. Now, if you've been in my stream, you know I've preached several different things, thought processes, and while researching this, while hearing other people talk about it, while thinking about it myself, I have made a few changes to what I think they're going to do and what they should do and stuff, which we'll talk more about on the stream and other prediction shows going forward. But as far as this goes, I do think that, and this is jumping forward, to find out who you need to win here. You know, oh man, I almost feel like I should put this on the back burner and come back. I should. So the answer to the question, the easy, very easy question, that I don't even know the answer yet, is I'm going to put this on the side, guys. Because to understand this, you need to understand WrestleMania. And to understand WrestleMania, you may need to make a decision about the Elimination Chamber. So who is going to win, Asuka or Nia Jax? Or, more importantly, how is that going to end? Well, Asuka's going to win. If there's a winner, Asuka's going to win. There's my check mark. Asuka's not going to lose. But I'm going to come back to this after we discuss the Women's Elimination Chamber, because it is important to note who wins that when talking about the situation going forward, which is where that it's not a matter of is Asuka going to win or lose. It's a matter of how does this play out towards WrestleMania. So we're shifting that over. So we got Bliss versus Bayley versus Mandy Rose versus Mickie James versus Sasha Banks versus Sonya Deville. Now, I heard, again, I'm going to go to Wrestle Talk because Luke, whatever his name is, I don't remember Luke's name. He's fairly new. I mean, he's been around forever, but he's now, Ollie and him are presenting together. And he made a comment that said the final four are going to be, they were, no, I'm sorry, I apologize, it wasn't Luke. Wasn't there, Luke. It was Larson. Steven Larson. They were picking who they thought was going to be the second to last person in. And someone just put Luke Owens in the chat. Luke Owens is his name. Larson said the last person is going to be Sonya Deville. And Steve was like, what the heck? What? Sonya Deville? And he said, well, Sonya Deville's the better of the two Absolution people, Sonya and Mandy. And the final four are going to come down to Sonya, Mandy, Mickie, and Alexa Bliss, because it's going to play the storyline of the Absolution versus Mickie. And I understand the storyline he's talking about, but here's the thing, Larson. I love watching your shows. I love watching the prediction shows. I think you guys do a phenomenal job, and you guys do are right on a lot of stuff. There is no way in hell that the first two people eliminated in the Women's Elimination Chamber are going to be Bayley and Sasha. It's not going to happen. Bayley and Sasha are not going to be your top two eliminated. And that's what you predicted. I don't know if you looked at it that way. I don't know if you saw the storyline and said, okay, these are the final four, and didn't piece together that there's only six and that the other two are the only other two that could theoretically win. But you're literally saying we're going to get rid of the two contenders and leave one person that can win and three people that can't win in the chamber together. That's not how it's going to happen. Not going to happen. So, I had to throw that out there. I remember seeing that and going, he's not thinking right now. And Steve agreed with him. He's like, you know what? You're probably right, Sonya. I can see that. I can totally see that. I'm like, no, you guys are both, you guys are trolling me right now. But anyway, so you have to look at it and say, who can win this match? There are 3 people that can win this match. Mickie James is not going to WrestleMania as a champ. Sonya Deville is not going to WrestleMania as a champ. And Mandy Rose is not going to WrestleMania as a champ. You have 3 options. Bayley, Bliss, and Sasha. Now, if Sasha wins, which is a lot of people are predicting, is the swerve. Because Big Money Odds says it's Alexa Bliss. First of all, it would be a shame, and I don't mean in the case of saying it would be a shame they shouldn't do it, but it would be a shame if you had Bliss carry that division, for the most part, and I mean Raw and SmackDown, for over a year, and a month before, the match before, because there's no matches, this is it, she's not defending again, this is the match before WrestleMania, you took that belt away from her. It was her belt, no one can take it away, no one has grabbed it from her. It should be hers to lose at WrestleMania. And she should go to WrestleMania, she should fight Asuka, and she should lose to Asuka. That is what should happen. Now, everyone wants to piece together better stories, better matches, better stuff, and I understand that. But if WWE was in the habit of giving us better, then we wouldn't know the main event of WrestleMania right now. So, and anyone who doesn't think we know the WrestleMania main event right now is naive. We know the top 2 matches of WrestleMania, both championship matches. We know them at this point. So, if Sasha wins, you can go Sasha Asuka for that rematch of that match that just happened and was so good on Raw, and that could be great. If Sasha wins, she could do it by turning heel on Bayley, and you can go Sasha Bayley and let Asuka go over to SmackDown. I will agree, from the standpoint of better matches and giving the Smarks what they want, Sasha Bayley and Charlotte Asuka are better. But I don't think that that's where they're going. I don't think that that's what they're doing. Now, that being said, with the matches on here, if they're going to swerve us anywhere, it's going to be in this match. It's not going to be in the main event. It's not going to be in the Asuka match. It's going to be here. And someone else said that. Someone said that. That might have been Luke Owens. But I feel like your best bet, if you're... I said in the beginning, keep it stupid simple. This is, know what you think it is and stick with it. I'm going Alexa Bliss because it'll really, really, really hurt in a way to have her in a 6-man tag match on WrestleMania, on the pre-show 4 corners #1 contender match. I mean, after what she's done the last year, and we've talked about this, and we don't talk about this much on prediction shows, but the way they book based on merch sales and stuff like that, it would be a shame, an unfair situation to not let her be in that championship match. Also, if she loses the title, shouldn't she be getting a rematch at WrestleMania? Sasha wins. Shouldn't it be a triple threat match? Sasha versus Alexa Bliss versus... I guess they could give her a rematch on Raw or something. But if you go the other route, if you give it to Sasha, there's more options. People will be happier. And if you give it to Bayley, that's going to be your big shock. Because last year should have been Bayley. Last year, Bayley should have won it at WrestleMania. That's what everyone said. And that's when they ruined Bayley. So it's a big cluster. It's hard to decide where they're going to surprise me. And I guess I've decided that the place they're going to surprise me is nowhere. They're not going to surprise me on this pay-per-view. Alexa Bliss comes out as the champion. Maybe the swerve is Mickie buys in and Mickie turns heel and helps Alexa. Maybe something like that happens. I don't know. Maybe Sasha turns on Bayley, but it doesn't win her the title. She just gets upset and turns on Bayley, and then they both get eliminated, and it sets up Sasha versus Bayley at WrestleMania without a championship match. There's things they can do without ruining the title picture, or I should say changing the title picture. So, because of that, we're saying Bliss, you drop back to the Asuka Nia Jax thing. And that lends a little more credence to a double countout situation. Now, if you are a believer of Sasha's going to win, or a believer of Bayley's going to win, which is why we talked about it, then Asuka wins clean and there's no problem. Asuka wins, she beat Nia Jax, she goes on to fight Sasha, she goes on to fight Bayley, she goes on to fight Charlotte. Nia's not even involved in the match. Sasha fights Bayley, Sasha fights Alexa Bliss in a rematch. It doesn't matter. Nia gets out of the picture. Asuka wins flat if Sasha or Bayley win the Elimination Chamber. If Alexa Bliss wins the Elimination Chamber, then there's a slight chance that double, no count out, no decision happens, and a double counter or something like that. All right, and then we have the final match, which is the Men's Elimination Chamber. Now, before we do the Men's Elimination Chamber, I'm going to do the final women's segment of the night, and that is Ronda Rousey comes down to sign a Raw contract. Now, earlier I talked about ambiguity. Hey, I said the word right, I think. Very ambiguous stuff going on, because they announced that Ronda Rousey would be coming to sign her Raw contract. But if you go back to the beginning, the first time it was announced, they didn't say her Raw contract. They said her contract. Now, I believe now that, and we've talked about this in chat quite a bit, and this is part of the things where it's changed. I believe that she will sign her Raw contract. I believe that Kurt Angle will be involved. I believe that there will be some kind of a shoving match, getting in people's faces. I believe the match will probably be Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I believe that at WrestleMania. I believe that's the route they're going. I don't believe that they will get Ronda in a singles match. But I wish that Ronda was ready for that singles match now, because to me a better storyline would have been Shane McMahon's music hits, Shane McMahon comes down, Ronda doesn't sign the Raw contract, she already signed a SmackDown contract. The reason she signed a SmackDown contract was because Shane McMahon gave her a title match against Charlotte at WrestleMania. Stephanie's embarrassed. Triple H is mad. Triple H attacks Shane. Sets up Triple H versus Shane at WrestleMania. This is assuming Daniel Bryan can't wrestle. But I think that would have been a better situation than this obvious Stephanie McMahon, Triple H. And it was so obvious that I didn't want to believe it, but I believe it now. She's going to sign the Raw contract. She's not going to go over to SmackDown. Asuka is probably going to jump ship and go over to SmackDown, fight Charlotte, which would leave Asuka on SmackDown and Rousey on Raw. I believe that because my thought process was the other way around, giving Ronda SmackDown and Asuka staying on Raw. But when I think about it, Triple H, as much as he is a Asuka person, he's more of a Rousey person, and he's Raw. And I think that he's going to want her there with him on Raw. I don't see him shipping her over to SmackDown where he can't hold her hand. So I think that that's all going to play out pretty much. She's going to sign a Raw contract, and somehow it may break into a fight. It may just get, shouting match or in each other's faces. But the important thing is, no, she doesn't sign a SmackDown contract like we've been saying on this channel. She will sign with Raw. Okay, so the final match is the Men's Elimination Chamber. That is Strowman, Elias, Finn Balor, John Cena, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and The Miz. Now, we look at this and you could say, we could treat it like we did the women's and say, let's eliminate everyone who can't win. We could do that. But then we'd be down to one person. Guys, I can give you justification for 3 people winning this chamber. 3. I could even, I guess, in theory, give you justification on 4 people winning this chamber. So let's go with that. There are 4 people that theoretically could win this chamber, and I'm talking about minuscule odds. So let's eliminate the 3 that can't. John Cena cannot win this chamber. It's not going to happen. Not going to see John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at the main event of WrestleMania. John Cena's current storyline is, woe is me, how am I going to get to WrestleMania? When he loses this, he's going to go further down that rabbit hole. How am I going to get to WrestleMania? Now, this leads me to another discussion which we'll have in chat about what John Cena is doing at WrestleMania, because I have changed my mind about something on that too. But Cena's out. Miz cannot win this match. Miz is not going to go into WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion versus Brock Lesnar fighting for the title. That's not going to happen. So Miz cannot win this match. And finally, Elias cannot win this match. I love Elias. He is phenomenal. I hope he gets a great match at WrestleMania. I hope he wins his match at WrestleMania. I hope he's a world champion one day. But now is not the time, and he is not walking out of there the champion, especially not coming out at 6. Which leaves you with the 4 people of Strowman, Balor, Reigns, and Rollins. Any one of those 4 you could make an argument for. Let me tell you right now, people can troll all they want in chat. People can say, oh, they're going to swerve us and give us the end of the story. I even, again, going over to those other YouTube channels, Luke gave this story about, the whole thing was a 3-year build-up between Roman Reigns and Brock, but unbeknownst to them, unplanned, they built up a Braun versus Brock Strowman storyline where Brock beat Braun the first time, but then the second time, Brock beat Kane and didn't beat Braun. And the whole thing, Braun is a better... If Braun stands there with the title at the end of WrestleMania, that's a better visual than Roman. Braun is their current... After his bass player, theatrics, he's their current Stone Cold Steve Austin. He is the future of the company in that sense. He made this great pitch, and I don't disagree that it would be great. And if they swerve me and give me that, I'd be through the moon. That'd be awesome, because I love Braun. But I'd be a little sad because I'm watching a television show, guys. I don't know if you know this, but wrestling, it is predetermined. That's why we're predicting it. And they write it out like a story. And every year, they create a story for WrestleMania. And some years, that story is Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. And they start it months and months in advance. And WrestleMania is the season finale. This is where it ends. Contracts end after WrestleMania. Drafts happen after WrestleMania. The whole new season picks up after WrestleMania. And they start building a new storyline for next year's WrestleMania. Vince McMahon, as brilliant as he is, and yes, I think Vince McMahon is brilliant. I think that he makes very few mistakes, and I think that the people that think he makes mistakes just don't understand. But as brilliant as he is, he's also stubborn, and I don't see any world where Vince McMahon is going to be like, you know what? I changed my mind. Let's get Braun in that match. Now, he may say, let's get Braun in that match and make it a triple threat match. But he's not taking it away from Roman after the year we just had. After the 3 years we just had. Brock is theoretically leaving. Now, he can sign, and he probably will sign. And there are rumors out there that Brock will win. He'll beat Roman at WrestleMania and keep the title because he's going to sign a new contract, and they've got all these other people in line to fight Brock. I don't necessarily believe that either, but that's for the WrestleMania prediction show. Right here, we've just got to say who's Brock fighting at WrestleMania. And Brock is not fighting Seth. and he's not fighting Finn. No matter how much you want to go, the storyline is Finn never lost his Universal Championship. Finn versus Brock is what the people want. You know, all the stuff. They've had Paul Heyman talk up Finn Balor as the great, you know, as much as you people want that, that's not going to happen. Vince McMahon does not want that. As much as Seth Rollins is being positioned for a main title run again, that is more for post-WrestleMania. That is for what's going on when Brock moves on to other people. Roman's got to move on to someone, and right now it looks like all the rumors are he's moving on to Seth Rollins. Seth is not winning this match. Some people say, I said, it would be an interesting, nice storyline if they found a way to get Seth in the match as well and made it a triple threat match, because the original match 3 years ago was Roman versus Brock, and Seth came down, made it a triple threat match, pinned, you know, got the title. And so even though it was a singles match originally, it was a triple threat match that Roman lost and didn't get the title. If you put Seth in the match right from the get-go, so it's a triple threat match, you could have Roman, heck, you could have Roman pin Seth, and then Brock doesn't lose the title, and you could set that up for another month. But as nice as that would be to bookend it and include Seth in the storyline, it's not Seth's storyline. So yes, you could theoretically add Seth to the match if you wanted to have him be part of the storyline. But if Seth wins the Chamber, it becomes Seth's storyline. Seth goes in, and Roman gets added for unfair advantage or whatever. So you can't do that. So Seth is out. He can't win the Chamber. Finn Balor is out. He can't win the Chamber. So here you go, guys. I'm putting my little check mark. Roman Reigns, 99.5% chance, with a 0.5% chance that they swerve us and give us Braun Strowman, because at the last second they decide, well, everyone knows it's going to be Roman, let's do something different. So there it is. There's your Elimination Chamber. I did not give you much in the way of surprises. I don't think there's much in the way of surprises here. I didn't make a Royal Rumble prediction video, but I got everything from Royal Rumble weekend correct. I wish I had made one. The one thing I got wrong, I missed one match, and then we're talking about NXT TakeOver and Royal Rumble. I missed one match, and it was the Usos match, because I thought they were going to take it off the Usos after the DWI, which they didn't. So, you know, good. I'm glad they didn't. I like the Usos with the title. But it was very predictable. Very predictable. And I believe it was so predictable because certain aspects of WrestleMania is pretty much set in stone, and all you have to do is follow those lines. I knew it was going to be AJ Nakamura. I knew it was going to be Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. I knew there was an Elimination Chamber to find out who the number one contender was. I knew Brock wasn't going to defend his title there, so they were going to do it for the number one contender, which meant Roman Reigns wasn't going to win the Rumble because Roman Reigns had to win the Chamber. I already knew that at the Royal Rumble. So I knew Nakamura was going to win the Royal Rumble because he was going to go on to fight AJ for the title, which means that we already know that AJ is coming out of Fastlane with the championship. These things are predictable, but they're predictable because they're telling a storyline that we're smart enough to have figured out. There are some things they can throw some wrenches in our works here, but there's not much. The reason I predicted the predictable people, Roman Reigns, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, is because changing that up changes the wiring, the lead, the roads to WrestleMania. And I think only the Women's Chamber can be changed and not put a major kink in anything. If Bliss doesn't fight at WrestleMania, it doesn't change a year-long storyline, but it does change it, kinda. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think I said wrong. Let me know what you agreed with. Let me know anything you want to see, what you're hoping happens, no matter how ridiculous it is. I'll respond to that as, well, that's ridiculous, but, you know, so what? Anyway, check out my... subscribe if you like the video. Click like. I'm out of practice, guys. I'm out of practice. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time. But we're going to get back into it. My Twitch channel is in the link down there. Come and visit. We do a lot of, like I said, Supercard and WWE 2K18. I run my own league where it's, I write the storylines and we simulate the matches. So come in and visit twitch.tv/SpectrumDominus. I hope you guys have a good day. Watch Elimination Chamber. Enjoy it. And I will see you soon. Bye-bye.